Hello all, this is John from EastCoastArmory.com. I'm here today with a project update video for this 1/6 scale static M4A3E2 76mm Jumbo Sherman tank. You can see, since the last video, the tank has been completed and is now ready for painting. The tank now sits in its final coat of gray primer and awaits its base coat of OD. In this last video, the entire back has been completed. We can see here the addition of the spare track racks and the folding rear storage rack. The track racks are made out of resin and are fully functional. They will be able to hold spare track links, and the way they work is if I unscrew this little wing nut here, just like the real vehicle, once the wing nut is removed, the cover plate swings downward, and you can now slide the track link into the little grooves here. These racks hold 3 track links, and each M4A3 gets 2 of these units per corner. So that's 6 links total. Once the track link is put inside, the cover plate goes back on, and the wing nut then holds it securely. On the rear storage rack, the rack itself is made out of sheet metal and it's all soldered together. This rack is fully functional. It flips closed and it flips over. On the underneath here we will see mounts for the starter jack, as well as 2 hinged wing nuts clamps over here. These wing nuts here are designed to lock onto these 2 sections here on the rack and will keep this rack from flopping up and down when the tank is in motion. Coincidentally, there are also 2 more grooves here, and 2 more wing nuts here and here on the rack. These wing nuts are designed to flip downward and to keep the rack from opening up when the tank is in motion. On the underside of the rack, you will see mounts for the gun cleaning kit. The gun cleaning kit itself will be added after the tank has been painted. On the tank's rear engine deck, you will see the new grill work. The grills have been modified from the kit original. Kit originals were made out of rotomold. The intersections were cut out, and new grill sections were added, and they were all fabricated out of brass. All the brass has been soldered together. The hinges function like the real vehicle, and when you open up the engine bay, you will see the cooling ducts. These ducts here are all sheet metal and are all soldered together to the brass. The sheet metal cooling ducts and the brasswork gives the engine hatch a nice weight to it and will keep it closed under its own weight. On the tank's engine deck, you will see that the fuel caps covers have been added. These fuel cap covers are also fully functional. They will have a small steel retaining pin, and when the pin's removed, they will be able to flip upward to reveal the gas cap or the fuel cap that will be underneath. Fuel cap will be, and the pin will be added after the tank is painted. You will also see that the fluid identification caps have also been added to this vehicle. On this tank, this cap and this cap are for gasoline. This cap here is for oil, and this one over here is for gas or oil. It's an auxiliary tank. You will also see drainage plugs drilled into these sections here. These drainage plugs are to keep excess water from building up and pooling in these areas, and they would just then drain safely to the sides of the vehicle. Moving our way to the front of the vehicle, you will see that the front area has also been completed. This here is the air intake for the front air filter, as well as a new addition to the EastCoastArmory.com product line are the 2 bow hatches. Bow hatches are made out of resin, and it's a set, and you get 2 of them. So that comes with the 2 hatches, the hinge mechanisms, several pieces of brass rod for handles, and the exterior periscopes. The brush guards that you see here are made out of brass, are not included, but are offered separately. The hatches have casting numbers on them, as well as on the interior. On the interior portion of the hatch, you will see the interior periscope detailing. This periscope here is not included with the set and is offered separately at Panzerworks. In addition to the front detailing, we have some more casting numbers, also some rough cast texture to this portion here of the armor, which on the real vehicle was made out of cast steel and not flat plate. Another detail that was added to the tank sides are these fender mounts here. The fender mounts here are welded to the tank and are perforated. These plates here are to mount side skirts that would cover up this part of the suspension here. On my model, I will not be adding these fenders, but I have the mount here as all of the Shermans had the mounts. Finally, we'll get to the tank's turret. As you can see here, the tank's turret is completed with all detail components added. The loader's hatch, commander's copula, gunner's box, guard, rangefinder, searchlight, loader scope, 50 caliber panel mount, and MP48 spring antenna base. On the back portion here, we will find the 50 caliber rails, 50 caliber barrel clamp, and this here is the storage panel. On the commander's copula, it is completely detailed with interior detailing. Over here we will see periscopes. Over here we will see where the periscope would go, the interior portion of the periscope, as well as the pivot ring. In the real Sherman tank, this portion here can rotate 360 degrees, and this little arrow here points to a degree number, and you get some idea of where your orientation is on the vehicle. The interior periscope will be added, and I have it on hand, and I will be using the Panzerwerk periscope, similar to the one I used on the bow hatches earlier. In addition to the copula, the loader's hatch also has its interior detailing. Here's the headrest, and this here is the locking mechanism. The locking mechanism is non-functional, it's purely for detail, and the headrest still needs to be painted. These will be done after the tank has its base coat. The tank's mantlet has also been fabricated. The original mantlet that is actually supplied with the kit did not survive the molding process, so a brand new mantlet had to be fabricated. The Jumbo, the mantlet, was actually a modified mantlet from the T-23 76mm turret. What they did was they took the standard mantle, they welded some more armor, like this whole armor slab here, to the mantle. And this can be seen here on the model as this portion here, which has the rough cast texture, was the original mantle. Then the slab plate here, which is straight and non-casted, is welded right here to the mantlet. As you can see here, it's a very, very thick piece, very well armored. This here is where the turret coaxial M1919 machine gun will go, and this here is another optic for the main gun. As you can see, all welds have been added, as well as these tooling marks. They were also milled into the mantlet. The 76mm gun here is all machined out of PVC and is spring aided and will not sag downward due to the weight of the gun. Instead, the springs allow me to position the gun in almost any elevation I would desire. Moving back, we could see the smoke mortar and the lift hooks. Lift hooks are made out of resin, the smoke mortar is made out of brass. Over here is the rotor mount for the mantle. Underneath here is the fastener that holds the mantle to the turret. It's covered by this detail end cap here. Same thing on the other side. The turret itself is mounted to the hull permanently and will not come off. Yet the turret spins full 360 degrees. The way I mount my turrets to the lower hull is via a simple lock bolt here. Simple nut, bolt, and washer connect to a bulkhead, internal bulkhead in the lower hull, and is what secures the turret to the lower hull. It's a very simple and very cost-effective design that gives you optimum security with very little cost. And that concludes this project update video for this 1/6 scale M4A3E2 76mm Sherman tank. Stay tuned for more progress on this model and don't forget to stop by eastcoastarmory.com for more builds and more detail upgrades. Thank you.